Hi there, this is Dawn. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm starting a brand new project for me and it's going to be Christmas markets. This panel is from a larger panel that Susanna from Vintage Blend Studios developed, that I've done two other pieces. Oh, I should have got that organised before I started to talk, shouldn't I? So I cut mine up into three. The first one I did as Christmas houses, which we did in March at a retreat. I started it there and really felt that it probably didn't need to be the whole, because it was 3 rows in the one panel. And I felt that might have been a bit over the top, doing all Christmas houses. So after some deliberation, cut it off. And my second panel I did as an Alice in Wonderland themed panel that you may have seen on some other previous videos. And so I've been sort of just trying to decide what to do for the bottom one, because it's a street scene of shops and I couldn't decide what I wanted to do. So my intention now is to cover these. So back in 2014, my friends and I went on the Christmas markets riverboat cruise, and we just had an absolute wonderful time. And I'm taking my inspiration from some photos, so I'll just show you a couple. I haven't actually got exactly where that one was. Usually says it on your photo, but it doesn't want to tell me today. Here's another one, October 2014. October? Yeah, maybe October. I think we came back in November. So a couple of things that are a standout. Over the top decorations, but the older buildings in the background. Most of the markets are, in the car park of a cathedral, town square. That one's gorgeous. And the lights. So they're the things that jump out at me. So these gorgeous buildings in the background here. It snowed when we were there. We're all in our winter woolies. I'm just trying to decide. Here's me. Oh, it was a while ago, 10 years ago, in the snow. Yoicks. I was in Salzburg, where The Sound of Music was filmed. There's another little stall at the bottom of a church. It was probably raining that day. They didn't have all their lights on, but they had lots of, evergreen stuff. I'm just looking to see if there's any more, because there was kind of a market in every town you stopped at. But then there's places like this. Oh, for goodness sakes. Good Lord. Sorry. How cute are they? So then I was sort of prompted to do lots of colours. And then I went, looking for it. I'm just seeing if there was absolutely anywhere else that in my photos, because I've got, Santa on the rooftops. But it was this golden light that's in the shop windows, in the market windows, really as a standout. No, I think that might have been it as far as ones that I needed to share. So, but I have looked, in other places, Pinterest and, all the usuals. And so one of the things that I decided to do was that sort of idea of other buildings behind, just in a wash. I did it here. I did it in the Alice one. See this here? I just painted these buildings in here. I did it. Did do it a little bit in there, but then ended up covering it a little bit in here. And so I thought I'd like to do something similar. At least when they're hanging on my wall, they'll look kind of look okay together. So I thought I'll start with that, and then move on to some fabric applique, but I also wanted to try and capture that glow in the windows with paint, because I think there'll be some parts of this will be paint, some will be you know, fabric collage, you know, silly of me to say, you know. Cool. All right, so what I want to do is, in these blocks here, there is like what do you call it? The word just left me. Payne's grey blue, which is that black, navy black blue colour. And I think I might see if I darken it with a bit of that. What colour is that? It's black. Is it black? Yeah, black. I probably don't want it so black. I'll add a bit in there with the blue. But I really probably wanted more of that, you know, off in the mist, because the markets come to life and are at their best at that, just at that sunset time where there's a bit of shadow, but there's also opportunity for the lights to come on. And really that's all they're doing, is they're turning the lights on. You know, they need it dark to turn the lights on. I'm going to get a bit of an idea, you know, might as well try and not reinvent every wheel. But what I'm going to do around the edges, I don't know yet. But I thought I'm just going to do this little bit of stuff on the side here, sort of like peeking out behind. I just don't want that brush to be too wet. Yeah, just peeking out a bit behind here, so that we know that there's maybe a church in the background, or a cathedral, because that's where most of them are based. They're at the base of a cathedral, or at the base of a town hall, or some gorgeous building. They're all surrounding that. They probably pay their fees to those, you know, trusts or whatever. But I thought if you just see what I'm doing, you'll get a sense of. And I think from my understanding is that Susanna has these on her website, and even I suppose if she sells out of them. It's called Village Life, and it's lovely. It's really heavy linen. The 2 panels that I've done so far don't need backing on them. The weight of them is really good. And so you might like to think about, if you want to do something like this, that you visit her on her website, Vintage Blend Studio, and you'll see what she's got. Cool. So this is sort of my thoughts on what I want to do. There's lots of the market stalls, the little Christmas market, little buildings, stall, little shacky things that they have. They're either really gaily painted in stripes or your the buildings are painted in lots of colourful, different coloured paint on the buildings. Then they've got their window frames are all gaily painted, and then of course there's decoration upon decoration upon decoration. So they're not they're easily seen, but that's okay. That's their livelihood probably. I don't really know. Good. All right. I'm just really kind of repeating the same sort of principle idea. I haven't got another thing in front of me other than my Alice one to copy off, so I'm kind of just going with that at the minute. I could research it and find something else, but just right at this second, just thought that I would just go with this. What I'm doing is really just brushing the brush across the surface. I'm hardly touching the fabric. One being, I don't want it to bleed. I want this to be just in the background, and I don't want it to be bleeding all over the, so that it's all flooding out and I'll lose the shape of the design. And that's what I didn't want to happen. I think every church has a little cross on the top. But these are just like the buildings in the distance in the mist. Because it was often misty, that's for sure. All right, my thoughts here will be a Christmas tree, probably at this end of the street, so that some of this will actually get covered. And if it doesn't, then I can always come back and have another play with it. It's not anything really, it's just kind of a suggestion of something in the background. And again, you probably don't know, but anyway, don't know why I say It's a very bad habit word, that one. But these Christmas markets throughout Europe are beautiful. Now, I know Susanna's buildings are based on shop fronts in England, in the UK, but I don't think they'd probably be any different if they were decked out for Christmas. You'd still see the old buildings in the UK off behind more modern-y ones. Cool. All right. Well, you know what I'm going to do now, because once I get started on this, it can't be I can't do anything till it's dry. and really I'm making this up. I don't have anything in front of me. I wish I did. That might have made things a little bit easier. I should have got myself a little bit better prepared than that, but I didn't. So they're all going to be the same. They're all going to look the same. That's all right. This one I'm going off this one here at the end here. But you see, I covered the majority of it with something else. So the buildings in the mist are not necessarily going to be anything that needs to have a lot of detail attached to it. So yep, here comes Paul. He might talk. I don't know. He's coming in the door. Yep. I'm talking on video here. All right, he's telling me he's going to be quiet, but one never knows what that really means. All right, I'm nearly done here. I don't want to have bottoms on things. Does that make sense? I don't want to have anything here because it may or may not, I want to have something in front of it that would it's like the buildings behind. Sorry, started to think about what I was doing then and not thinking about what I was trying to say to you. Probably some sort of tree would be good, wouldn't it? Just mopping up the last of this paint here that I mixed up. So it really didn't even take very much paint. All right, so let's see if I can get some sort of tree shape here. In behind the building. That might even get covered up. I might put Christmas fabrics there. All right, cool. That's a bit of a tree in the background. Done. I'll just have one more little pointy roof up there. They're all a bit the same, really. Cool. All right, so that's my first little bit. I'm going to let that dry. So I've got that bit there, that bit, and that bit. And my camera's saying from start to finish 18 minutes. Having a little chat, collecting myself together, collecting my thoughts, showing you photos. It didn't take very long because I really didn't do that much detail. But I think by having just the one colour, not pressing too hard, not trying to flood it with paint, just giving it like almost a sketchy feel, that, not fighting with it too much then either. I'm just going to, I don't know what that bit there is. That got a bit odd in shape, didn't it? Let me just see if I can't fix it. I got it a bit wet as I put the brush in the water. Could be a fence or something. And this is what happens when you fiddle with it too much. You actually get something that you're not that fussed on. So there might be a tree goes there. In fact, there probably will be, because I've played with it too much now. Have a practice on a bit of paper. If you're, you're unsure about how you want that to go, Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking that was going to be. Side of a building or something. Good. There's always going to be one bit that you don't like, and that might be mine. All right, 20 minutes are gone. I'm going to go away, let this dry, and come back with some bits and pieces to think about how I'm going to make this look, because I do want it to kind of look like market stalls, not necessarily shops. All right, I'll see how I get on, and I'll talk to you in a minute. So the next bit that I want to do is trace off the shapes, because once I start appliquing on, some of the detail will be lost and I might want it back. So I've just got some just plain baking paper, and so that's my next sort of job, is to make sure that I protect the image as it is, because yeah, once I start doing anything else, I'll possibly lose it. The other thing that I need to do is paint the windows in. As I said to you before, you know, one of the outstanding features of the stalls is that golden glow through the windows that you know, have the Christmas lights glowing from the inside. So yeah, I need to do that as well. But I thought I'll do this bit first. So that I don't lose that detail if I still want it. Some of it I'll keep, some of it I probably won't, just because it won't fit with the fabric design that I choose. But I think this is just good planning. Let's call it that. Let's call it good planning. Gosh, that must have moved. That bit. Yep. And in particular the windows, because I might want to choose fabric for the front facing, and if I want to put the window back, then I need to know basically what it looked like. So I anticipate this project lasting quite some time. I don't think it'll be a 5-minute job. It'll be something that I continue to add into. The embroidery will take ages to do, because there'll be little bits of trim and little bits of decoration, probably some garlands and whatever I think about at the time, and none of that is really forward planning. So oops, nearly lost that. Like this roof line here, in my head I've kind of got like a candy stripe, and so you know, I'll lose that sort of thatching look there, because I'll add it in fabric. Right, so I'm just going to do this one with you, and then I'll keep going at my own pace here, so that I don't bore you to snores with this bit, but you know what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. Good. All right, I'll keep going and I'll come back. So to finish off what I started, I've continued to paint. I've added some little bits of fabric. I've cut out little bits of fabric. I've had a bit of a play. I've got my little candy stripe awning. I haven't resolved what I'm going to do with the doors, but what I was doing just now was I'd sort of mixed up sort of a browny whitey colour just to sort of give the buildings something more than white, because I don't think that I'll put fabric on the actual building themselves. Definitely like the roof, and that bit of awning is going to happen. Maybe some doors. I don't want this to be like flat paint. I want it to look a bit like, you know, they have sort of rendered buildings, concrete sort of, or timber maybe painted, that may have faded or whatever in time. I wanted the brownie colour because I wanted it to look like the timber that I saw everywhere. I think I'm just going to have to take that bit out. I'll put it back in a minute, because this now is going to be my first video with you, and then I will keep puddling about with it. I need to resolve attaching these really fine bits of fabric. Otherwise I'll just fray away. If I just do it like that, I have to decide whether I'm going to put some Flies-A-Fix on it, on the backing. That might be something you can have a think about. Just adding a little brown in here just as a bit of shading. You know, it's going to be under the awning. I've added, oh, of course I added the yellow. You didn't see me do that, and tried to make it a bit more golden than yellow, just to sort of as a lot effect from being lit within. Again, I'm just really adding the paint to the fabric surface, really not flooding it with colour. I just didn't want to. You know, I'm happy to just have it this amount. I'm kind of like seeing the texture of the fabric still coming through. I've hardly got any paint on my palette at all. Like, I'm not using that much in saying that. I need to get a bit more white. My white is looking fairly sad. I tend to mix on there. So I'm just scooping up this bit of white paint here off the block. Add a bit of water, make it a bit wetter, get the colour moving. There's a bit of grey in there, I'll have that. And I'll just have a little bit of brown. And this is what I do. I'm terrible. I mix straight on the block. I probably shouldn't do it, but I do it all the time. Just my way of doing it. And they're my blocks, so it's all right. Yeah. So I hope you like this little project that I'm starting here, and that you might feel like tuning in for. It's sort of, the panel's been nagging me to do something with it for, well, I started it in March, and I think I got the Christmas one finished prior to starting a YouTube channel, and even got started on the Alice one, and then came in after the effect, decided to have a go at YouTubing. So yeah, so those ones had already, you know, pre-started. I'm just being ridiculous here with this green. Just take it off, for goodness sakes. I already painted one bit of it accidentally. And yeah, so I thought I'll start a new project now, in amongst all the other little bits and pieces that I'm doing. And of course I've got the Christmas fabrics out because of the Just Because quilt, and so you know they're sitting here. So they started to call me, and I thought I would just do kind of ordinary Christmassy type shops, and then I remembered about the market stalls, and I thought, oh yeah, that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. But it pretty much dries as soon as you touch it. I'm just picking up what's now on my palette. I'm not going to try and make any more. I'm just giving it a bit of shade there, shadow. Oh, there's a bit of building there. I didn't even notice that. Might make that a little bit darker just because it's around the corner. Put a little bit of grey in there with that white just to make it a slightly different colour because it's kind of around the back of the building. Well, that was a bit darker than I might have wanted it. Let's see if I can bleed that out a bit. Spread it out a little bit. Might actually add a little bit of that dark up there. I didn't mind that. As I said, it's just a shadow. I thought I got these little red bits out to make window boxes, so I'll think about that one, and then the rest will be just embroidery. The window frames themselves, I'll couch a thread on. I did that in the other one and quite like the effect of that. So I'll head down that direction. But I think for this one, I'll continue to paint the building, and when I come back, I will have started to think a little bit more about the types of fabrics that I'm going to use for applique on the roofs and maybe the door. Just have to give it a little bit of thought, really. But I think for this video, I think this is probably a good start. Just darkening the bottom there because it'll be sort of what goes down closer to the roof. Oh, you see, just near the awning there. Yeah, I think that's the way I it's just a bit got a bit more interest than flat, and I didn't want the flat, but I didn't think that I really wanted to cover it completely in fabric either. So I found this little bit of fabric with just little holly leaves on it. It was an old piece of fabric that I had. Well, I can't see now. It was somewhere here that I cut the stripes out of. It's amazing how something can do a disappearing act in a flash. Can't see it at all. So I can't show you. That's all right. I you know, when I was doing that, I cut that out of that traced bit of fabric that I you know, traced the picture. Sorry, making a big rustling noise. I've got some lace trim out. I thought, you know, a bit of fretwork maybe at some point. I'll think about it. as I go along. I've got this bit of brown fabric here for the roof. The markets don't tend to have, well, some of them do. Some of them are a bit more painted than that, but I thought the fabrics and the embroidery are what's going to add on. Yeah, see, it was fabric like that just had stripes. I just can't see the whole big piece of it. It's just gone. But, yeah, it's old, so I can't tell you. Sorry, can't tell you the name of it. All right, I think I'm going to leave it here for now. This will be the end of video 1. And I'll come back in a few days' time and with a little bit more work on it, and hopefully you'll enjoy this as a little series. You might want to investigate the opportunity of purchasing the panels and doing something of your own. I quite like fabric painting. It's probably one of the things that I like to do the most, but I also like adding the fabrics and doing the embroidery, so all of those things will happen as well. You could do it any way you want. You could just cut out all these bits out of fabric and applique them on, and they'd be perfectly all right. I found this was, again, another bit of that stripe that I thought looked a bit like a candy cane sort of stripe. But I do need to resolve how I'm going to attach it, because I can't just do that. It'll just fray away. It's too small, and whether I use flies affix or something, I've cut out a few out of another piece of fabric, these tiny little baubles. It's actually now about finding something in proportion to the size of the building that is already pre-printed, because otherwise it's going to have to be something that I'm either embroidering or beading. So yeah, these are the sort of things that I was having a play with. I'm going to get there. All right, I'm going to call it a night, and I hope that you like what I'm doing and that you'll come back and join me for another part. Okay, bye for now.